Hello everyone and welcome to another What I Think review, and today we are going to be looking at the new 15th Doctor Sonic Screwdriver. Now this is the deluxe edition from the Character Options website, which features both electroplating and a couple of other little features similar to the 14th Doctor one. There is going to be a retail version coming out soon, I believe at the sort of start of October, but this one, the deluxe version, is available now on the Character Options website. It is possible that it may sell out because there are limited numbers. However, I also believe I may have read somewhere that they're going to do kind of like they did with the 14th Doctor Sonic. They're actually going to do a sort of restock depending on, you know, how it sells out and things like that. But here we have it. Obviously this is the brand new 15th Doctor Sonic, as I've said, for the new 15th Doctor. Overall it looks great in the packaging. I'm going to actually talk about the actual look of the screwdriver itself more towards the end of this video, because I feel that's something else to go into rather than the sort of actual product. But in terms of, you know, what we see here to what we see on screen, it initially looks very good. Obviously we're in this you know, new type of packaging, which is sort of slightly more open, but obviously it does have a actual sort of plastic covering to it. And if we turn it round on the back, we can see we've got a bit of information on the back as well. So you've obviously got information about how to change the batteries. It's a little bit different on this one, so the batteries are actually hidden underneath this plate where the scanner is, so you have to pull that off and then you lift out the batteries. Obviously it shows you all how to do it there, so it's very nice. And the text on the back reads, "The 15th Doctor's Sonic Screwdriver boasts a completely revamped shape and design, with its curved edges and array of lights making it the most unique rendition of his favourite bit of tech yet. The many uses of the Sonic include integrating with complex electronics, analysing data, and of course opening doors. With its new casing, this iteration of the Sonic has a visible power crystal and flip-out biomechanical analyzer and a spring-loaded emitter. The Doctor even has a few colour variations up his sleeve, such as this brilliant blue finish." Now, at the time of recording, as far as has been said or aware, we aren't getting any other colour variations of this Sonic, again, at the time of recording. I know there have been rumours on sort of, you know, whispers on like forums and things like that, that other retailers may see other, you know, coloured versions and things like that. But again, at the time of recording, nothing on that has been confirmed. Personally, I hope we do get to see that. I think it would be a great way to get more people interested in it, and it would be a great way to sort of celebrate, you know, the look of the thing, and to have all these different sort of colours and you know, variations of it. So we're going to have a look at now the actual Sonic itself, but just before we do that, I do just want to talk a little bit about the box and how it opens. So here we have the box, obviously with the Sonic out of it. Underneath the actual Sonic Screwdriver itself, you've got this little sort of diagram which shows you where all the different buttons and things are, and it also gives you a basic sort of comprehensive, basic but comprehensive detail of, you know, how what different buttons do, and how, you know, it has the different sounds effects and what the different sounds do. You know, so it's nice to see that they've incorporated that in there, and it also means that you obviously haven't got a paper leaflet as well. But the reason I want to talk about the box is my concern with these sorts of boxes was always that they're difficult to get in and out of at times. And I think one of the things, like for example with the 14th Doctor Sonic, I know what a lot of people lamented was the sort of plastic covering over the top of it. You know, and I think that's happened with some of the other sort of figures as well, where they've been a bit sort of open to the elements. And, you know, I get the reason why, due to reduced plastic and things like that, but I also understand people's concerns, you know, about them sort of being on, you know, toy shelves. Let's be honest, it's going to be in a toy section where there's going to be kids touching it. Kids carry germs, even adults carry germs, you know, and it is actually something that's sort of open, and it also means that, you know, it could be sort of stolen and things like that. So it's nice to see this packaging sort of incorporated back into it. But the thing that I've always been slightly worried about these packagings is how it's a bit of a shame that we were never sort of able to repackage them after you'd open them if you wanted to keep it on display in its box. Well, I'm pleased to say that these ones are actually a little bit more repackage friendly, shall we say. So obviously, as you can see, I've taken the Sonic out of this one. It's a little bit still open, where I've had to sort of cut the tape and things like that. But overall, to get into it, if you want to keep the box, what you need to do is you've got a little tab down here, which opens up this, so you cut one off there, and then there's another little one at the top here, so you cut open that one there, and then all of the box folds out and open, and you can get to the Sonic underneath, which is held in by these tabs which are sellotaped down. So all I've done is the top 3, or you can do it with the... Excuse me, sorry, I had choked for a minute there. All I've done is with the top 3, or you can do it with this bottom one as well, is you can basically just lift it out, so you can pull that top tab out, and it allows you to slide the Sonic out. If I put the Sonic back in, you can see that it does slide back into the packaging, and then I can close it up again. I'm not going to fold all the box back in now because it is a little bit fiddly to fold it all back in, but it was just I wanted to show that to give the sort of basic idea that you can put it back in its box if you want to display it in the box. You know, which is a nice way to do it. The only thing I will say on the packaging that I think, and I can understand why it's been done because it would have been more difficult to vacuum pack it this way, is obviously you've got it this way with all of the sort of dials and things facing away, because obviously this is a, you know, it's got a flat surface one side and it's got the raised surface this side, so you know, it means that you can't see actually the front of it. And initially my thinking was that, oh, it's a bit odd that they've decided to put it in the box without sort of putting any of the actual features on display. You would think that they'd put it in that way around. However, as I said, I can understand why they've done it that way, because it's easier to vacuum pack it, or, you know, injection mold plastic, the cover for it as well. But also I think if you had displayed it that way, you would have had to have had more plastic, because you would have either had to have had it exposed again and tied on with wires, or you would have had to have created some more extra plastic inserts to sort of hold it in place, rather than vacuum pack it this way. So, you know, it's a small thing, but, you know, I am going to sort of raise it, but I'm not going to hold it against it, because, again, I think, you know, I don't think it looks bad that way at all. I do think it looks the part. I think probably people just would have probably expected to see it more that way around in the box again. You know, and also because, you know, if you'd had it that way, you could have also still potentially had the thing of having the little button area open, so you could have had, you know, a try me bit. Obviously we'll get onto the features of it in a minute. But again, then you run the risk of people just touching them in shops and running the batteries down and things like that. So, you know, there's a bit of give and take there, but I've just, you know, I just wanted to make a point of saying that about the box, because it does have its pros and cons. But I actually think this box, I was initially not really overly fond of this design of the box, but it's grown on me, and certainly with this Sonic, it feels improved. And as someone who does like to display things back inside the box, I think this is a great way forward. You know, my own personal preferences of which way I like to you know, have it displayed around the box is just my preference. At the end of the day, it doesn't really make any difference, and it's not something that I'm going to downgrade, you know, a product for, just for a personal preference. So here we are with the Sonic out of the box. Obviously this is in its open form. In terms of visuals, I said I'm going to talk about the actual design of it, but visually you've got this lovely sort of electroplating finish, front and back. Does look very nice. I do love the detailing on it. It does look absolutely superb. In terms of functions, you've got quite a few on here. So obviously we have the emitter on the top, which if you press this button, flicks out. As you can see, it's on the front and back. You've got this nice little sort of detailing, and then in terms of the actual features of it, so as the emitter pops out, this little plate opens up to hold it in place. Obviously as well, this is in its open form, so if you close it, you can just sort of swivel it either way. I think it'll only swivel one way closed depending on which way you open it, so I've swiveled it this way, so as I close it, it does have a little closing sort of deactivation noise like that. And then if I bring it around the other way, or you can do it either way, but I'm going to bring it around so it does do the sort of full 180. It has also an opening activation noise, which I just spoke over. So obviously you've got that there. In terms of lights wise, you've got this lovely little crystal here. And if I press the button, you've got light on the top, which also does work if the emitter is open, which is a nice little thing. So if I close that, it's a little bit difficult to get in at times. It's quite a sort of, it's ergonomic design, it's quite a sort of cumbersome thing. So yeah, so you've got that lovely little light in there. So in terms of lights on the front, you've got those ones there, you've got those two down there, and then if I turn it over, you've also got several lights on the back of it, and then if you swivel it closed as well, it lights up that little sort of see-through panel there, which is a nice little feature. But if I open it back up, you've also got several different sound effects on this. So obviously one button press gives us the standard, 2 button presses, and then 3 button presses, So you've got some nice little variations in that. One thing that I will say that I've noticed in just having a play around with this is when I did the second version, 1.2, I've done this a couple of times and I've noticed that none of the lights, apart from the crystal, actually lit up. Now I don't know whether that's maybe me, just even if I just press it lightly, 1, 2. No, so I don't know if that's me just not pressing the button lightly. I hope it's not an electronics issue, you know, but I do sort of want to raise that because again, you know, I do like to sort of review these fairly and come up with the pros and cons, and if that is an electronics issue, hopefully it's something to highlight to CO. I hope it's not, I do hope it's me, but then obviously also as well you've got this feature here as you pull out the scanner on the side. This is the only thing as well I've noticed is it does want to fold in slightly, being left-handed. Maybe that's me, so maybe actually if, as a left-handed person, maybe if I open it that way it can't go any further. There we go. So there you go. Left-handed and right-handed. It really is ergonomic. So yeah, so you can open up the side scanner. You can also open up the emitter as you've got that. When it's got it open, the buttons don't do any other sound, so the scanning sort of thing is as it is. And this is the plate as well. If you remove this plate, you've got the battery cover underneath. So that is the lights and sound effects it has, except it does have a hidden secret feature. Now, I want to thank Scott over at Gallifrey Customs for telling me about this. I don't know if he's the one who discovered it or not, but he's the one that told me about it, so I'm going to thank him. So this is an Easter egg that is on, I believe, on the exclusive CO version only. It's not going to be on the standard release. So what you have to do is press the button 14 times and then on the 15th time hold it down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. The light then goes off. I'm still holding the button down, it's worth saying, hold it. You then open the scanner. Nope, I talked too long. So, I'm going to take you through this again. Obviously there's a delay on it. That I didn't realise. So, press and hold, press the button 14 times, hold it on the 15th. Open the scanner, close the scanner. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Open the scanner. You get 3 beeps, close it, and the light goes green. You now have what is being referred to as evil mode, because if you press it, you get red lights and, for some reason, the Master's laser sonic screwdriver, the laser screwdriver effect, sound effect. Certainly a nice extra one to have. You know, obviously if I hold it down, it will just go on and on. But also, if you double press the button, you get a yellow mode, which is flashing, which also gives you the sort of other sound effect of the Master's laser screwdriver. Obviously, if you open up the top, you still get the same. I don't believe you get anything different if you get 3 button presses. 1, 2, 3. No, so you've got the 2 different sound effects. So then, to put it back to normal, I don't know if... Oh, so there you go. So if you open that as well, you get red mode, but with the green crystal. So if I close that, so now I think to get it back to normal, I think you have to do the same again of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, which with 1 beep will set it back to normal, and there we go. Yeah, so that's pretty much all the lights and features and sounds we've got on this. It certainly is a really nice piece, definitely very good. I will just, in sort of this last bit of the actual review of the actual toy itself, make mention of the fact that this is $39.99, which I know, again, a lot of people have said that's a lot for a toy. You know, we've been down this road a lot before, but it's, you know, it's worth saying we've got lots of different lights, we've got lots of different sounds, we've obviously got lots of different moving parts. I mean, in alone, you've got, if I open it up, so you've got, this is one moving part, the top of this screwdriver is another moving part, this bit's a moving part, this bit's a moving part, you've then got buttons, you've got different lights, you've got another moving part here as well, you know, different lights, different LEDs, different sounds. So, in terms of going by natural inflation, etc., blah, 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 all the stuff I've said before, $39.99. Personally, I don't think it's a bad price. You know, I want to make it clear as well, actually, this time. I haven't had any advanced samples for this one, so I've had to buy this myself. I bought 2 of them, so I've spent £80 on these. You know, I bought 1 for box, 1 to keep, you know, 1 to take out of the box and 1 to keep in its box. I've spent £80, and personally, I think that's a good and fair price. You know, I'm not gonna, if I had got an advanced sample, then, you know, I'd probably still think the same thing. But as someone who's actually paid for it, you know, this is why I'm happy to sort of be a little bit more critical of it. But At the same time, I don't think it's an unfair price for what we get in this. I think that's actually quite fair and good, and you know, a pretty decent price for something which really does look very good. Now I am going to get the retail versions. I've got those on pre-order, so when I get those I'm going to review those as well. I'm probably going to do a comparison, but now I would just like to talk about the overall look of this sonic screwdriver as well. I want to make it clear at the start as well, this has got nothing to do with the actual toy or character options or anything else, but this is the first time I've really sort of had the opportunity to really get a real look at the new sonic screwdriver and to sort of get a feel for it, how it looks, how it functions, you know, so this is really a more of a sort of show-based discussion rather than a toy-based discussion, but I do think it is something which is a valid opinion to raise. Obviously, this Sonic has generated, I don't want to say controversy, but it has certainly divided opinion with how it looks. Obviously there's lots of people that are making jokes about it. It looks like a universal remote or a shoe-in sole, and it does bear a passing resemblance. I'm not going to deny that. In terms of an actual sonic screwdriver, in terms of its functions and things like that, you know, I'm not going to deny it looks very good, and it certainly sort of, I think, fits with the more sort of snazzier look that, you know, the 15th Doctors, you know, are going for, and I think it does suit the personality. However, I'm not entirely sold on it as a sonic screwdriver design, not because it looks like an insole or it looks like a universal remote or anything like that. It's just very different, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, because, you know, you look at the past sonic screwdrivers. I mean, you had all the classics look sort of very similar, and then obviously when you got into the new series, pretty much every new series Sonic has been almost an entirely different design. They've all had a lot of variation to them, and it just, this one, so the best way I can sum this up is, my other half, she's not huge on Doctor Who. She'll watch it, you know, if I'm watching it and things like that, but it's really not sort of her thing necessarily. So she's not a huge fan of it, so it's good to get her opinion on things sometimes, because it's a very outside look of things. And something that we sort of said and we agreed on is this device, it doesn't look out of place in Doctor Who. It does look out of place as a sonic screwdriver. So she said, for example, if they went on a planet and you had some sort of alien using this as a general scanning device or as some sort of, you know, diagnostic tool or something, fine, it would look perfectly normal, and that makes absolute sense. But when you think this is meant to be the Doctor's sonic screwdriver, it just doesn't seem to fit, and I think it is because it really doesn't, I can't see this as a sonic screwdriver. You know, I mean, when you look at all the previous ones, you know, the 14th, 5th, you know, 14th Doctor's, 13th, 9th, 10th, 11th, all the way through them, they've always been sort of very long, very pointed, and very screwdriver-esque in how they worked. I know, you know, the 13th Doctor's sonic screwdriver was controversial, but it was still long, pointed, and the diode at the end rotated kind of like as if it was rotating a screw, and it did have that sort of sonic screwdriver sense to it. You know, it had something which resembled past things. This doesn't. It really doesn't resemble much different. I mean, okay, put it this way. The 6th Doctor had his sonic lance, which was the blue thing with the red light at the end. Now, that sort of had a sort of sonic screwdriver-esque look to it, but it was said it was a sonic lance. If you'd said, oh, the Doctor doesn't have the sonic screwdriver anymore, this is a sonic lance, great, that would have worked really well. You know, or you say that this is his sonic SMD, sonic medical device or something. It's just anything other than the screwdriver, because it just, I want to love it. I really want to love this design, and I do love this design. I just don't think I love it as a sonic screwdriver. It's a really difficult point to explain, but I'm hoping you see what I mean. This certainly doesn't look out of place for the show, and it's a wonderful design. It looks brilliant. I love it the way it sort of, you know, everything folds out and it's got the functionalities, but as a sonic screwdriver, it doesn't fit. You know, and I think it's a tricky one. It is a tricky one, because it is, It is very different. The only thing I can say is I would much rather have this than the Sonic Shades any day. But it's kind of, I'll be honest, it's the same sort of thing. It feels like they're trying to do something a bit different when they didn't really need to. You know, I think this is, again, something which is going to divide opinion. It's going to continue to divide opinion. You know, and I certainly, you know, if people love, anyone who loves this design, wonderful. I'm so glad that you love it. You know, if people really dislike this design, that is entirely your choice. You know, there's no right or wrong opinion to this. The fact is that this is the Sonic Screwdriver, like it or lump it. You know, but I do feel I sort of want to say my piece on my thoughts on the visuals of it. You know, whilst I've got a version of it here in front of me, because it is different. It is very, very different. But in terms of a toy and what we've got in this box, I love it. I think that, you know, that the detailing is fantastic. I love that we're getting these electroplated ones, you know, and all the different detailings. I love the fact that we're getting also deluxe versions and you know, a standard version. I'm very tempted to wait until the standard versions come out, and then I might try and get hold of a couple of spares to do some different coloured ones, because obviously, as I said at the beginning of this video, there are rumours and sort of people have been sort of saying, oh, we, you know, hopefully we get some sort of ones from different retailers with different colours. But again, this is just rumour, this is just people's hopes and things like that. There's nothing to actually confirm that that's going to be the case. But, you know, fingers crossed. If we do get it, great, I haven't got to buy some more and make some. If we don't, then, or even if we get it later on, I may still buy up some extra ones and do some different coloured versions, because I feel like that would be an interesting project to do as well. But that brings to a close another What I Think review. As always, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Like, favorite, subscribe, share, it really helps me out a lot. And be sure to the description below for a link to my Patreon. I am still doing my figure animation. Obviously, you know, same thing as usual, there's lots going on with work at the moment. It's been very busy aerospace wise, and it is something that I am still actively working on in the background. It's just, you know, life and priorities. But for the meantime, all of your donations really are greatly received, and for the smallest donation you can get your name at the end of my videos. I salute you all, and I will see you in another video very soon.